As you know, the main function of our welding force is primarily the welding process, creating these weld beads on various different materials such as black steel, stainless, and aluminum. However, it has three other functions. Today we are going to be reviewing the topic of cleaning. Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit further about this machine and the laser it has and how it really manages to perform this job. The first thing to understand is that this gun is very special. When you are going to perform the cleaning system or the cleaning function, it is necessary that we need to change this particular kit. In this kit, we have a different nozzle and also a different lens. What the lens essentially does is basically change the shape of the light. Secondly, it is also important to understand that this gun, as well as unlike some other guns, comes with a galvanometric lens system. What does this mean? Internally, it has a mirror that manages to move the light beam in such a way that it creates a fan shape. This function is absolutely essential when I am going to perform cleaning systems very thoroughly. Our welding force is equipped with approximately 1500 watts. That is the power of our laser, of our resonator. The gas we specifically need for the cleaning function, well, in this case we have argon. When we work with this remote cleaning function, the gun will be approximately 30 centimeters away, and the argon, when released into the air, will mix with the air because of the distance. So, it doesn't make much sense to use argon for this particular application. We are definitely going to work with compressed air, obviously for the convenience, and especially because of the cost. Many times we are often asked, hey, up to what thickness can a welding machine actually clean? Well, the question is a bit unclear and ambiguous. Why? Because the laser is a 1064 nanometer laser. Let's remember that the function of the laser is to interact with the materials through the absorption of energy. It means that some materials absorb energy faster than others. For example, chromium is a reflector or has a very low level of energy absorption in comparison to carbon, such as carbon. So, depending on the material or the difference in finish we have on our test tube, we will be able to generate this cleaning effect. If the oxide layer of particles is just dust that hasn't settled too strongly yet, and that is easily removable, then I will be able to thoroughly clean it. If this layer of oxide is indeed already a solid oxide, as if it has actually fused with the piece that may have been there for years, the cleaning process will in fact be a bit more difficult. And without further ado, let's change this set to have our gun ready for cleaning right now. Now, what awaits us is simply selecting the cleaning function on our touch controller, and easily. Here we have the four functions. We have the welding function, we have the cutting function, we have the seam cleaning function, which has a special nozzle, and the function we are testing now, which is the remote function. We select OK. Before starting the process, we must not forget the important safety measures. First of all, our safety glasses for our eyes and also the necessary mask. With just 20% of the power, we achieved incredibly and effectively super fast cleaning efficiently. Obviously, the surface is left with this dust that comes off from the oxide. And I will try with another of the cameras, although the process is super fast. Now, I am going to increase the power to 600 watts or 40%. I will make the fan a little bigger. We will work with an 8 centimeters fan to see how quickly we can clean one side. In this example, I want to see if we can clean this side in a single pass. I believe that for this type of oxidation, we can easily work with just 20% of the power of our 1500 watt machine. Now we are going to continue with this plate that is much more rusted. And here we see a layer of rust that is a bit more stuck to the plate, as if it were united, fused. It seems like magic really, as if you had a kind of brush that gently cleans this oxidation, which is generally quite complicated to clean with sanding processes. That is one of the great advantages of having a laser cleaner. Here I can see the result, and well, I want you to see this. Since the layer is so thick, when I move it with my hand, obviously with gloves because this can be harmful to the skin, the rust layer reappears. So the recommendation I would make when dealing with materials that are really rusted is to perform an initial cleaning, then clean it with a small brush to remove all the dust that has been generated and remains on the surface, so you can continue with the cleaning processes. Now I am going to clean this second side, well, this section on the right side, and I am going to use 50% of the laser power. You can clearly see how the laser had more strength, so well, let's give it the final cleaning. I think 50% is enough until it is quite clean. And look at this beauty. We have already cleaned our plate that had the thickest layer of rust. We only used 50% of the laser. It is a bit hot, but you can't even notice the difference anymore. Nothing like what we had at the beginning. It is now in a stage where it can go through a welding process, a painting process, or any process we need, because rust generally gets in the way and can't be done. And we are going to continue with this elevator that is painted with electrostatic paint. I am going to increase it to 50. Now I am going to clean this second side, well, this section on the right side, and I am going to use 50% of the laser power. You can clearly see how the laser had more strength, so well, let's give it the final cleaning. I think 50% is enough until it is quite clean, and look at this beauty. We have already cleaned our plate that had the thickest layer of rust. We only used 50% of the laser. It is a bit hot, but you can't even notice the difference anymore. Nothing like what we had at the beginning. It is now in a stage where it can go through a welding process, a painting process, or any process we need, because rust generally gets in the way and can't be done. And we are going to continue with this elevator that is painted with electrostatic paint. I am going to increase it to 50. With 50% of the power, we were already able to remove the paint, but as you saw with a little help from my hand, the paint was almost off, but I finished peeling it off. I want to see what happens if we use 1500 watts. Pretty good. I really like the result it had on this layer of paint. I think in terms of time, we could easily clean this piece in about 8 to 10 minutes, fully clean at most. We are going to finish cleaning this elevator before moving on to the structure, and on this last piece I want to time it. I want to find out how long it takes us to clean. We are going to clean half of the structure to really know in an operational job how long it would take me if this were obviously my main application. With 50% of the power, we were already able to remove the paint, but as you saw with a little help from my hand, the paint was almost off, but I finished peeling it off. I want to see what happens if we use 1500 watts. Pretty good. I really like the result it had on this layer of paint. I think in terms of time, we could easily clean this piece in about 8 to 10 minutes, fully clean at most. We are going to finish cleaning this elevator before moving on to the structure, and on this last piece, I want to time it. I want to find out how long it takes us to clean. We are going to clean half of the structure to really know in an operational job how long it would take me if this were obviously my main application. I am going to increase the power by 30% to make it a little faster. Basically, we managed to clean half of one side of this completely rusted structure. I think it took us about 3 minutes. Now production gives us the exact, accurately operational time. But I want you to very clearly notice this important difference. It seems like it has a layer of paint. If you can see here the color of the rusted part, as you can observe, Once we clean it in this particular area, we can very clearly see the color of the black steel, and it is indeed quite truly spectacular. And to finish, we are going to conduct a test on a piece that is painted yet completely new in order to thoroughly ensure it is indeed brand new. This is specifically one of the parts of one of our fiber machines that essentially serves to support the screen. It had a manufacturing defect, so I am going to try to remove the electrostatic paint. I will see the effect it has on the work in red, black and white colors. The laser, having a wavelength of 1064 nanometers, reacts differently not only on materials but also on colors, such as red and blue. And here we can observe and analyze the differences in the laser's effect on various different shades of colors. Obviously, black has a higher level of light absorption. In fact, in some cases, black is not even considered a color because basically black is the absence of light. Black has the characteristic of absorbing all light, reflecting almost no wavelength, and therefore it means that it will absorb more of this laser, this light, and consequently it will heat up more easily. That's why we see that black has the greatest cleaning effect. Indeed, unlike red and white. Red would be next, and white does the opposite of black. It reflects all wavelengths, making it a bit more complicated to clean. We are going to continue removing a bit more paint, slightly. All set. And that's all for today, working with our FORZA Solder in its remote cleaning functionality, completely and absolutely. We have seen the quality of work it can do with relatively light, medium and heavy types of rust and corrosion in various situations. I think the most complicated thing, and here we go with the first conclusion, the most complicated thing is to remove the white electrostatic paint, or generally light or pale colors, which will refract the light, particularly in industries like automotive and manufacturing, which often face this challenge. If we have a component, such as a piece with a brown, red or black color, it will be much easier to remove that electrostatic paint, for example. Number 2, the laser has the incredibly powerful ability to evaporate almost any material, and efficiently. However, to be able to analyze an optimal cleaning system, it is recommended to apply a first layer, then clean it by hand with a brush as you saw, to remove all those particles that remain on the surface, and then continue with a deep cleaning. I can also do it without this initial cleaning, using only the gun, but that will make it take longer and also cause the piece to heat up more. Number 3, work cycles. This beauty of a machine can work 24/7 without needing to take a break, since it incorporates a chiller or a cooling system to keep the original source at room temperature. You know that this type of application is absolutely indeed extremely crucial and very critical for conserving operator time. What is the other alternative? Doing it with sandpaper is unthinkable, not only because of the operator's time, but also because there are small areas that become inaccessible. The laser becomes an ideal option, not only in terms of ease, but also in terms of cost. And believe it or not, this machine consumes a peak of 8,500 watts, averaging around 4,500 watts when working continuously, which is less than what a domestic electric shower would consume. To give you an idea, you don't even need a 3-phase installation, since our 1502 model with 1000 watts is configured with single-phase 220. And that's all for today. If you want to see more features of this beautiful machine, we have a presentation video where you can see all the functions in detail. Let us know in the comments what other materials you want us to test with this welder for cleaning, and we'll see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.